Well, hello, it's Clive de Carle, welcoming you to another edition of the Health Revolution. And today I'm joined once again by the wonderful John White, one of my favorite guests of all time. And today we're going to talk about Big Magic. Tell us, John, tell us about Big Magic.
Well, Big Magic is a MiraMate product. We already had a mini Magic. Then we decided to go a little bit larger so it could treat whole body. It's a pulsed EMF sheet device. You place it underneath your body and your body gets subjected to the healing energy waves that the mattress produces. I was thinking, Clive, at this point in the game quite early, perhaps I could show a PowerPoint to illustrate what Big Magic is and what Big Magic can do.
That's absolutely brilliant. You know, I've used PEMF for some years now, and very, very exciting technology. And as always, your product, I know, is going to undercut everybody. So that's rather fantastic.
Okay, well, we'll start the PowerPoint and see where it takes us. So, okay, can you see my screen, Clive?
I can see it perfectly. Yeah.
Full screen. Okay, so I'll go to my PowerPoint and we'll start away. Slideshow, play from the beginning. Okay, the MiraMate Big Magic. It's always funny when I read through our own PowerPoints. I read that as table contents. There's no of in there, but it's a table of contents. What is Pulsed Emf therapy and what is Big Magic? Okay, what is Pulsed Emf therapy? It's sudden brief signals of healing magnetic waves. It's very, very safe. It's a natural way to recharge your body so they can travel down the path to better health. Of course, when you've got diseases in your body or you've got damage to tissue in your body needs more energy so it can heal itself. What Big Magic can do is introduce this energy into your body. It does this through pulsed EMF, that is pulsed electromagnetic fields. It targets your body at a cellular level to simulate your cell metabolism and improving your health. It does this through giving your mitochondria more energy. And as a result, quite a lot of disorders, diseases and injuries can benefit as a result of these treatments. And there's none of this harmful side effects commonly associated with the drugs and other things. You only get positive side effects. It's a completely safe and natural form of treatment. It's been used for years, Clive. Pulsed EMF, well over 100 years. It's been used to treat conditions. Everywhere can benefit from pulsed EMF. A lot of people use it for their pets and even the large animals like horses and cattle. And it just seems to work like magic. And this is why we call it Big Magic. Here are just a few of the ways pulsed EMF can promote good health in your body. Your body's natural endorphins, they're the chemicals that are released when you're watching Clive's videos. They're stimulated, providing effective pain relief for arthritis, joint pain, fibromyalgia, back pain, and ankylosing spondylitis. Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and stroke patients also benefit from the healing energy of pulsed EMF. And interestingly, people with migraines, insomnia, stress, anxiety, and phobias usually find a reduced symptoms as a result of using pulsed EMF. It's quite interesting, really, because all of those ones, people think, oh, well, that's kind of like stress. How can pulsed EMF reduce stress? But pulsed EMF does help in those conditions. Now, pulsed EMF is perfect for stimulating bone regeneration, improving bone density, and helping in the recovery of osteoporosis, arthritis, osteoarthritis, and fractures. So if you've broken a bone, you slip Big Magic mattress underneath your bed where you sleep, and your bones actually heal faster. In tests in very similar devices, Clive, they purposefully broke bones of lab animals, incredibly cruel, and they made the bones become apart, so the bone tissue had to mat together again. There's a distance where bone will never join. With these animals that are over the Pulsed Emf mattresses, the bones healed even over 1 centimetre, whereas the poor animals that weren't over the Pulsed Emf, they were crippled. Nerve pain.
Can I ask you a question, just to interrupt there for a moment?
Sure.
A friend of mine took some LSD, climbed a tree, fell out, and for the last 40 years or whatever, he's been in a wheelchair. He's got himself with a TENS machine to the point, TENS machine and hallucinogenics, to the state where he can now stand up for the first time in almost 40 years.
Good.
And I don't know if he's tried PEMF. I wonder whether, because obviously he had a gap in his spine, which he still wants to properly mend. Would it work just as well with him, do you think?
If he's got a gap in his spine after 40 years, the bone will not join together. It's rounded off. It's not got open tissue anymore. So it wouldn't join a joint that has been apart for 40 years. But it could well help in other areas. For this bone to heal, they'd have to re-break it and then have the Pulsed Emf applied. It's really best, Clive, for new breakages. It's the same for any Pulsed Emf device. In fact, Spooky Big Magic, there's a ton of Pulsed Emf devices out there, a lot of them. In fact, it's so hard to choose a device. Where Big Magic comes on its own is its affordability. It's not got many zeros after the price, and how effective it is, despite the cheaper price. It's certainly not it hasn't been made cheap. Nothing's been compromised in the design and manufacture of the unit. It just comes down to the way that we structure the pricing of our products, where we price things according to the cost of manufacturing plus a little bit, instead of how much we can charge for a unit. Okay, even soft tissues, Clive, can benefit, but again, that's way past the time when your friend has jumped out of the tree. But soft tissues, if it's after an accident, Big Magic can help speed the recovery. So instead of taking, say, 2 weeks to recover from an injury, it may halve that time, and it will also make the recovery better. So if you've got broken bones, you can make the bones knit together tighter. And even nerve pain issues, if you've got nerve pain problems, that can be reduced or eliminated entirely. And maybe this can be helping your friend Clive, because a lot of his problems could well be from nerve damage, which is residual from that long ago.
Well, he was told he'd never stand up again, and it's taken him a long time, but he's proven them wrong. So, so many of the things that we assume are one way, it's impossible. Clearly, as they say, don't get in the way of people doing it.
It's come to the point now, Clive, where if you want to say a lie and have everyone believe you, you just put on a white coat and maybe have a couple of pens sticking out and throw something around your neck called a stethoscope. No one will question you. Well, your program, the Health Revolution, is fabulous. Telling people there are answers out there. Listen, learn, do. Now, the science behind Pulsed Emf is quite in depth. This person that was employed in NASA He investigated the effects of electromagnetic fields on neuronal cells, and they're responsible for transmitting all electrical signals throughout your body. Everything from moving your muscles, sending messages to your brain, and that's basically everything. And sensation, the feeling of sensation. And these cells can be damaged through to accidents or after surgery, which is when you get worked on by one of these people in these white coats. And they discovered that within an electromagnetic field, your nerves grow from 250% to 400% faster. Now, the photo on the right, I wanted to stipulate that no animals were harmed in the making of this presentation. That cat was a volunteer cat. It stuck up its tail, so it wanted to go into space.
On April 12, 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first human to journey into outer space. And when he and subsequent cosmonauts, as well as American astronauts, returned to Earth, they were very sick and their strength and energy was depleted. NASA studied the problem for several years and eventually determined that the problem was the astronauts had been cut off from the Earth's magnetic field. Once NASA equipped space capsules with pulsating magnetic fields, the astronauts no longer faced the same problems with sickness and lack of energy. If you're facing problems with sickness or lack of energy, then you might want to consider using a PEMF mat, since studies have shown that PEMF therapy promotes and maintains general cellular health and function.
You never realised that I could have a high voice like that, did you? Okay, so oh gosh, that's gone down again.
It was also surprising to see you looking that way with a wig on. It made you look like a totally different person.
Yes, well, I have several wigs. I have several. That was a blonde one. Yes, that's the expensive one, the one I got just recently. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so what they're saying is that the pulse of the earth is essential for our life. We evolved in this environment, and it's become like a necessary component to health. So if we live without the pulse of the earth, the natural frequencies of the earth, we will get ill, we'll get sick. We've got our own magnetic field in our body. We've got quite a few cells, I've lost count of them now, and they're powered by electrical energy and influenced by the magnetic field that surrounds us. If we're in good health, we've got quite a high charge, up to 100 millivolts. But as we get older, stressed, or we have a poor diet, or the environment is bad, this voltage is reduced. And if you've got a voltage as low as 50 millivolts or less, you're highly likely to suffer from a chronic illness. And cancer is seen in people with less than 15 to 20 millivolts. So it's actually quite significant, this charge. It's not just a desirable thing, Clive, it's necessary. Now, the heart doesn't get cancer, and it's for good reason. It's the most positively charged organ in your body. You know, since writing this, we've found out there has been cases of heart disease, but it's so rare, Clive, phenomenally rare. Certainly the least likely place to get cancer. Now, the cells in your body are like tiny engines. They're powered by the nutrients from the food you eat, if you're lucky enough to have nutrients in your modern food, and in the oxygen that you breathe. Now, the electrons which are stored in the mitochondria, or the power cells within your cells, they provide the ignition. And if you don't have that, your cells start to die. And if enough of those cells die, your cells don't work properly, and you get sick, real sick. It's like a car without fuel. Without energy, our bodies cannot function correctly. Okay, now our cells have a positive charge, and a loss of this charge can cause major health problems. That's another thing I question, actually. Our cells have got a negative charge. But we'll let this floss past us. A negative voltage charge. It needs a re-editing this, doesn't it? Now, blood cells have got a very important role to play. They transport nutrients and oxygen around your body. They absorb toxins or enzymes from major organs. A positive charge prevents blood cells from clumping together, giving greater surface area, allowing each cells to absorb more oxygen and perform at better potential, at full potential, I should say. Now, without a charge, the cells clump together, their combined surface area is reduced, and less work can be done by the cells. And so you'll see this, Clive, in just feeling tired. Everyone has an idea of what they would consider normal. When you were young, Clive, normal energy for you would have been like you'd run around everywhere and zip and do this. Whereas perhaps when you get older, rumor has it you're still zipping around, but most people when they get older, their normal energy will be very much reduced. Well, that could very well be because their blood cells are clumping together and their poor body cells aren't getting the nutrients, the oxygen they require, and the toxins aren't getting removed fast enough.
And a good example of people like that would be anybody who's on any medication that lowers their blood pressure. You know,
medication. Clive, you promised not to swear during this interview.
Oh, sorry.
Now it's out of the bag.
Yeah, again.
Well, Clive has hit it on the head. There's many things, many drugs that we're given to treat some conditions that do more harm than good, especially long term. And they may deprive your body from necessary nutrients, necessary. It's dreadful what long-term effects drugs can have on your body. If you can do something naturally to restore your health, then it's a no-brainer, isn't it? That's what you'd want to do. And Pulsed Emf is a natural energy. You and I have got it now as we're sitting down doing this interview from Mother Earth. Now, if your blood cells start clumping together, not only have they got less surface area, but they can't squeeze through the very narrow capillaries very easily. And so it just goes from bad to worse. As your body's organs, the tiny individual cells start dying, then more toxins are created, so the blood's got to remove more toxins, but less blood's going to the organs. It's a really bad situation. So you really want to avoid any unnatural way of healing, if you can possibly do so, and use a natural way like Pulsed Emf. Now, I was going to say, throughout this interview, I'm talking about our product. Other Pulsed Emf units, I've seen a lot of very, very good ones as well, Clive. I don't just promote our product. Pulsed Emf in general is a really good idea. So look at Pulsed Emf, but please look at our one because we like to think that our one is the best. My opinion, of course, is totally unbiased.
What I wanted to point out, of course, is you mentioned the Earth's resonant frequency, and of course, actually, the first time I ever saw with a microscope the clumped blood thing, it was cured in half an hour by somebody sitting on a deck chair barefoot in the garden, and the electrons coming up from the surface were unclumping the blood. But of course, the great thing about PEMF is you've got that when it's too cold to want to take your shoes off. It's possibly raining, and of course, PEMF can deliver that oomph with a hell of a lot more power than barefoot through the planet would.
So let's.
But we need a catch up because we should be barefoot on the planet, walking about, getting all those electrons and so on. But because we're not, 10 minutes or whatever it is on a PEMF mat, I would suggest, would you think is a bit like the equivalent of walking around all day barefoot?
I'd say so, Clive. It's like a concentrated dose, isn't it? But we've developed Big Magic not to be super powerful. It's gentle, just like Mother Earth. So you normally treat yourself while you sleep. So it could be 8 hours while you're in bed. And you know, the power that Big Magic consumes is so little. It must be something like a dime a day or less. Very low power levels. Well, it's funny, you know, Clive, when you're saying the story about standing out in the field. Now, let's think about it. You're not feeling well, right? You got a choice. You can either stand out in a beautiful field, jump around or walk or stay still or anything, but your feet are on soil, dirt, and you've got the sunshine pouring down on you and the natural fields from the earth. You can't help but feel good. You just can't help it. Or you can stay indoors, see a doctor and get some drugs. Now, what would you rather do, really? And for me, it's a no-brainer. I don't know why other people can't see it. Maybe it's because they don't watch enough of your videos, Clive, and they don't realise that there is more than the answer they're given by the white-coated people. Shall we carry on?
Carry on. Yeah, they're not watching enough of your videos, which are also intensely interesting. The people you interview are brilliant. It's really good.
Thanks, Clive. Yeah, we've got some wonderful experts on our summer series. Okay, so how does Pulsed Emf actually help? Well, Pulsed Emf, or spooky Big Magic Pulsed Emf, we modeled it to emulate the Earth's natural field. So it's nothing that's unnatural. You're getting the signals anyway. It's like a bell ringing around the Earth, the frequency, the sound that the Earth is giving. It's actually created, Clive, through lightning strikes. The EMF rings around the Earth, and the frequency is around 7.83 hertz. It varies slightly from year to year, but it hovers around that value. And we wanted MiraMate Magic and Big Magic devices to mirror something that's natural, so your body accepts it. It doesn't see it as being foreign. Okay, Big Magic. We called it magic because some of the results we were getting was truly magical. The chronic health conditions slowly disappeared, but it doesn't disrupt your everyday routines. Because you sleep on it, you literally sleep on it. And because it's such a low power usage, you just leave it on. You don't even think about it. And you truly forget about it's there. I cannot answer you now, Clive, whether I've got one under my bed or not. I'm not sure. Because it's so transparent to my normal life. I may or I may not. But I probably have, actually, because I've been feeling pretty good and I've got good high energy levels. So without changing any part of your daily routine, you're getting doses of these healing waves. You don't even have to have any chronic condition. You just feel good when you wake up.
So okay. My experience with the mats has been with the super expensive ones, and they really are expensive, like the IMRS and of course, with those, you know, they say, well, you just lie down on it on 8 minutes a day, once or twice a day.
Right.
And you set yours to sort of emulate that type of thing, or is it the slow burn that you think is preferable?
Slow burn is better. If you have to drink a glass of water within half a second, you don't feel so good. But if you've got like 10 seconds, you can just sip away. It's still got the same effect. It still quenches your thirst. Now, you're delivering the energy to your body, but you're doing it gently so your body can assimilate the energy and appropriate it where it's necessary. The other devices that you mentioned, they are good devices. You know, they work. Pulsed Emf does work. As you say, they're expensive, so you need to have deep pockets. As I say, our units are less expensive, much less expensive, and they still provide the magical results that Pulsed Emf does.
One of the results I got with the IMRS, which I was surprised about, was I had this guy and he had a curve in his back. So when he lay down on his back on the mat, you could see light sort of under his back because of the curve.
Yes.
He gets off it and his back has gone flat. And he says, this is the first time ever in my life that my back's been flat, ever.
That's the magic of Pulsed Emf. That's the magic of Pulsed Emf.
I was super surprised about that. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. If I was a good salesman, of course, I'd be saying that all the other Pulsed Emf devices are rubbish. But most of them are good, quite honestly. So it just comes down to which ones you can afford and which ones, provide the type of treatment that you want. If you go to a Pulsed Emf that's got a mat, you immediately add 2 zeros to the price, which is sad, but that's just what happens. There are some Pulsed Emf mats which are no good because they use individual coils and they focus the energy in areas, not the whole area. And so that's one thing just to watch out.
One of the early impressive things I saw with Pulsed Emf was the PEMF machine at $25,000 or whatever it is. But I saw this guy, he's shaking with Parkinson's, puts his hand, within that ring. 1.5 minutes later, that's him not shaking for the next 36 hours. But you pay the big money for the big machines. But it's it just shows what PEMF can do. But I wouldn't feel very happy using a big machine like that often.
Well, no, I don't think it would cause damage per se, but it might alter the sensitivity of your body's balance. It may have a long-term effect that's quite detrimental. I do know that they do give a maximum duration of the Pulsed Emf unit. So maybe that is something else to also look out for. If they say we'll use it for 20 minutes, maybe that suggests that longer term usage is harmful, perhaps. I'm not sure.
I don't.
Sorry?
No, either. The other PEMF device was, of course, Bob Beck's early pulsar, converting flash guns, and they were super effective for the teeth.
Yeah, they're good. I love cheap solutions. Even better is the free solutions, which is you're standing out in the field. And I like being outstanding in the field. But it's if you can't go free, then just you don't need to spend a lot of money to get something which is extremely effective. And
well, quite right. I'm all for free.
Well, right. Now we do a comparison with other Pulsed Emf mats. It's a bit naughty, but somehow it slipped through. Okay, our mat's on the left. And of course, it's all positives on the left and negatives on the right. Well, I've mentioned pretty much most of them. Now, we were very careful in the design, Clive. We didn't want to overcharge bodies because we wanted it to be gentle. So we reversed the direction, the polarity of the magnetic field. We do this every 10 minutes. The wave, most other units are in a single direction. Our unit has a very short and very sharp square wave that very closely mirrors the natural pulse that the Earth has, whereas other units generally have a regular square wave. We focused on the pure Earth pulse frequency. Other units tend to go for the higher frequencies. And I've mentioned about the price already. Our one's just a little bit cheaper, like a couple of zeros cheaper than the other units. I do want to stress, though, that it's not cheap because we've used cheap components. In fact, some of the components, I'd say all the components actually are from America. But no, we were very careful in the design. It's just the way that we decide to price our products which makes the difference. We've Sorry,
I was going to say, what sort of size is it?
I'll show you it in the flesh very shortly, because I've got a box of Big Magic here. We bought from one large supplier, reputable supplier, And well, I won't tell you the name of it, but it balances your energy, and you wear it. It's battery powered. You wear it as a pendant. We dismantled it we pulled it apart as one does, and the components, everything together, were less than $1 worth, less than $1. Also, with the design, the signals were so low to the point that they were virtually immeasurable, even with our very expensive laboratory test equipment. So it's purely placebo. This unit was around $400.
Wow. That's really, I mean, anybody who's trying to sell you something like a pendant for $400, you got to look at the size and think something's wrong here.
It was a square. It was a large pendant, and it had two AAA batteries in it to power it. But it's just ridiculous, really, how they price these things. If the alternative health market, I hate the word alternative health. I'd rather call it mainstream, but we'll just stick with it for now because that's what people call it. If we're going to make any sort of impact, we ourselves have got to be honest. We're competing with people that we are saying are dishonest, but we're following the same pattern of exorbitant pricing, or selling things to a value that we can afford, that people can just afford to pay, which is really unfair, Clive. Really irks me. That really irks me. So no, it's wrong. It needs to change, and otherwise the alternative health market's is going to keep small. Okay, I keep on sneaking these little things in, shouldn't I? I should stick to the program. Okay, so we've got a single 5-volt battery adapter. Sorry, you can run it off your computer USB port, so it doesn't use much power. It charges up to a certain charge and then throws that charge into your body, so your body accepts it, then it charges up again and continues at 7.83 times per second. You've got a power level adjustment there from low to high. If you're sensitive, you can select a low power level, but honestly, Clive, I've seen heard no reports from someone that doesn't run it on level 3. They all want to see results fast. I mean, we're all human, right?
You could clearly save money then and do away with the switch.
Really, we could. Yeah, we could. Well, it's transpired this way. It's one of these things, Clive. It seemed like a good idea at the time. There's the option there. There are a few people that are very sensitive to frequencies, and so there is that option there. And as I've said before, the frequency of Big Magic is the Schumann resonance of Earth. That is the natural Earth pulse frequency. It's the heartbeat that's passing through you as you're viewing this video. Well, I'm hoping it is. If it's not, then you need to get outside and put your feet on some earth. This is showing one use of Big Magic. It's for someone who's got a sore back. They're just chilling out. They've got 2 cushions behind them and the mat's just behind them. The mat's fully flexible, so you can position it to different shapes. The total magnetic strength of Big Magic is 2,500 gauss. Now it's spread over a very large area. We've got another product, Clive, MiraMate. That actually produces more magnetic field in that small area, but total is quite a bit less because the mat is so large. What our users are saying, well, I hope it's good things, Clive. Let's find out. I've been sleeping on my Big Magic mat since I got it. That's what it's designed for. Instead of waking up at 3 in the morning, as I have for many years, I'm sleeping 7 to 8 hours and feeling well rested.
Out of 100 people, how many people might have, do you think, a reaction as good as that one?
I've never heard of someone that's not being able to sleep after Big Magic. Maybe there are, but I haven't heard any reports of that. We haven't done a double-blind study for 100 people. Because we sell our products so cheaply, we can't afford to have these huge, expensive experiments. But we do, but because for the same reason we're affordable, we've got a huge number of users that report back and give the feedback. And so that in a way it is a huge test bed of people. And we haven't had any reports of anything negative at all. At all. None. Nothing negative, all good. But I can't tell you out of 100 users how many have had, better sleep. Okay, another person, these are 3 different people. They use the mat each evening to start a system for relaxing into restful deep sleep. Another one for sleep. Okay. In fact, they're all sleep, aren't they? In fact, we should just market this as a sleep device, but it's not. Oh, okay, it's headed up sleep problem. I'm seeing a disturbing pattern here, Clive. I was thinking 3 sleep things in a row, come on. But a third person as well. So these are 3 reports of people that have had better sleep through the use of Big Magic. I guess if someone had a lot of natural health and vitality, maybe it won't have such a profound effect because they'll be naturally getting their sleep because their body's in harmony with Earth anyway. But I guess as people age and they don't get the amount of healing EMF that they require, they may need a bit of a helping hand. Okay, back pain. Now I know the plan. The heading is an indication of what's to follow. Okay, back pain. My mum had some back pain due to gardening, and the mat was placed behind her back. Within 15 minutes, she did the stand-up test, but that's a good test, and she felt she had no more pain. And normally it takes a few hours for her pain to diminish, so that's good news. And a person at a meeting, one person was a parcel delivery person. Gosh, they work hard, don't they? Some of them, gosh, they're like energizer rabbits. And this delivery person had back pain. And this person had the Big Magic with them. I wonder why they carried Big Magic with them, because it's not supposed to be a portable device, but they did. And he tried it after the meeting. And gosh, after 2 hours, he could stand, he moved around and said his pain was gone. Isn't that fantastic?
Very good.
But actually, this is like a double-edged thing, because this person helped somebody else that he didn't know before, because he didn't know there was a delivery person. So this person was a stranger, and this person helped a stranger. And this is something that we really heavily promote. If you do spend your life doing good to other people, then good comes to you. We found this in so many areas. And so there's a bit of a moral to that story, isn't it? And this other person found that every time they got muscle or joint aches and pains, it's worked every time. Lower back pain, tennis player, they get pain relief. MiraMate, they're talking about, gave them pain relief, but didn't completely heal the lower back muscle issue. So then they used the big boy, this bigger brother, the Big Magic, and they got the best pain relief result. And a few days later, they re-injured the same muscle. Gosh, Murphy's Law strikes everywhere, doesn't it? And then after 3 more daily sessions with Magic Pulsed Emf mat, the pain was reduced significantly again. You know, that I love products that you can get once and then you don't have to buy things, subscribe to anything, get prescriptions for this or replace anything. You just leave it. This unit isn't like a lot of mat units which have a lifetime. They say, well, after so many uses, you've got to replace the mat. We designed this one so it becomes a lifetime buddy. Neck pain. Gosh, that's far too long for me to read, and it's got a few long words as well, which is 2 good reasons not to, but basically it helped with their neck pain tremendously. Basically improving the blood supply to the injured part of your body. And once your blood can get to the part, then you get the oxygen in, you get the nutrients in, you get the bad stuff out, and you heal so much faster.
So for blood flow, every type 2 diabetic, or type 1 for that matter, could find it pretty useful, couldn't they?
Absolutely. And if it's something that you can well and truly forget, have it on underneath your sheets, and then just forget about it, then it's ideal. You don't have to worry about moving it or being in a certain position while you sleep. Just do it. And
if somebody sleeps on an electric blanket, could you use both devices at once?
I wouldn't. Yes, you can use both at once. That's the quick answer. But I've got a negative view of electric blankets as a whole, because any conductor that carries electricity produces a magnetic field. Now, you can have a healthy magnetic field like our friendly and happy Big Magic, or you can get the not so friendly magnetic field, which is the field that the mains frequency is, that we're subjected to in our households. And so sleeping on it purposefully, if you can turn the blanket off when you hop into bed, so you don't have to throw a hot brick in there, that would be good. But I wouldn't recommend someone sleeping on a live electric blanket at night time. But you can certainly have the blanket on there, and even have it running while you have Big Magic running as well. It won't interfere with each other.
Right, very good.
Fibromyalgia, chronic pain. It's terrible, isn't it? And stenosis. Back pain, it's one of those dreadful things where if you've got it, you've got a deal of a task trying to convince people just how much it hurts, how crippling it is, why you're staying in bed. You're not being lazy. You're well and truly crippled. You might as well have no back at all, because your back cannot support any weight. People that have had back pain, which is pretty much all of us at some point in our lives, know how crippling it is, how destroying it is to our day. You just can't go out and do anything. You can't go buy groceries. You can't have fun with your kids. It's really crippling, really reduces the quality of life, especially if it's ongoing. So it's fantastic for that. Fantastic for that. With Big Magic, it's good to bring this point up now, Clive. It's not a very powerful machine like some of the others that cost $25,000. It's a gentle machine, so it may take a while, and it may be so slow that you don't really realize it. If you want fast relief, you do something like our Mini Magic. Funnily enough, it's not often you hear something mini being more quicker than its bigger brother, but it's more focused. And so you place the coils of Mini Magic directly over where it hurts. Whereas with Big Magic, it's doing not only where it hurts, but the area around it. And so the surrounding tissue will be able to deliver the nutrients to the damaged area, and your body can do its natural healing processes. And certainly with diabetics who've got poor blood circulation, you get a very pronounced effect.
And how about for people who have poor circulation? Let's say they got older and now they're bruising incredibly easily. What effect would it have positively there?
It will clear the bruising. It may not reduce the, when you do get a knock, next time when you're not using it, your bruise may still develop. But if you put a Pulsed Emf device of any sort over the bruise, the blood, the clotting will dissipate much faster. Much faster than if you didn't have Pulsed Emf. And that needn't just be Big Magic. It could be any Pulsed Emf device. It just happens that Big Magic is the best one. I guess how much more reduce the time that it takes for the bruising to disappear.
So I wondered whether if you're getting more blood flow with PEMF, therefore the capillaries, one would think, would probably get stronger to accommodate that. I don't know. And so I was wondering whether bruising would be less because your skin is now, and the capillaries are now stronger from the PEMF.
It's a very good point. I guess if you use it for like a year or more, which is easy because you just, as I say, slip and forget, then your body will become stronger, more efficient. And so even when you're not on that mat, you'll still have the effects of the Pulsed Emf. It's like when you take supplements. You can take supplements to resolve an issue, or you can take supplements to build the strength of your immune system, build the strength of, build your energy levels. And so even when you stop taking the supplements, the residual effect is quite long. And if it's as a result of the supplements, your immune system is boosted up, you can go for a whole year without taking the supplement and still have an amazing immune system, not get sick where everyone's dropping like flies around you. You're right. So, but again, Big Magic is not fast. You don't expect an overnight result, especially if it's something like a long-term circulation issue that you're talking about. You'd really want to, if you've had a condition for a long time, it may well take a long time to resolve itself. But at least you're going down the path, Clive. You'll get there. Now,
very good.
See, this person's had lumbalgia for 4 or 5 months. And this person didn't have any result from what they saw, even after the second day. But he kept his faith on. How's that for words? He kept his faith. And on the third day, he suddenly noticed an improvement. This is actually what the improvements quite often sneak up on you. Stealth. Should have called it stealth magic, shouldn't we? And the fourth day, he could put a number on it, 90% improvement. And on day 5, the pain was completely gone. Now, if you had done some other treatments, it's very unlikely that it would have just taken 5 days to resolve this problem that had been between 4 and 5 months. And it's really funny, he says, I'm curious if this is a very temporal fix and if the pain is going to come back soon. So he's a bit nervous. But today I'm painless, and that is super nice. So it's an honest review. He's sort of doubtful whether it's going to stay with him. But I love that, it shows that it's written by real humans, real people, and of course, if something, you've had something for 4 or 5 months and it's gone in as many days, you're dubious. And this person's dubious. Love it. The pain didn't come back, by the way. So it had a happy ending. And this is what we were talking about before, the cellular metabolism. Now they're sleeping on top of it, and they're finding that their general metabolism has increased. It doesn't say actually how long. They didn't expect the increase in energy that did result. And they're thinking now, as a result of them getting more energy, they're not just talking about their cellular energy. They're also talking about energy that they feel themselves. When you get up in the morning, you feel either one of 2 days, depending on 2 ways, depending on how you slept, really. Whether you feel really lousy and there's a real battle through the day and you're really hoping that no one starts a conversation with you. Or you feel so bubbly and on top of the world that nothing's a problem. Even obstacles that always come your way can be overcome with ease because you've got the energy, you've got the drive and the positive outlook. Well, this is what this person found. And he's now asking the question whether it's useful for people with chronic fatigue syndrome. This person's had this in the past. And they're also wondering if it's good for weight management because it gives you the zip-de-doo-dah. You get up and go. And they're basically very happy with the Big Magic. Okay. Q&A, Clive. We always seem to have this at the end, don't I? Is it portable too? Because this is really comparison with Mini Magic, which is portable. and it's really designed for chronic diseases or conditions that you've had for a long time. Really designed for overnight treatment, and it's not portable. It hasn't got a battery built into it. Actually, having said that, Clive, it's reminded me, we did have a couple of customers that got these 5-volt power packs that you use for charging cell phones via USB ports, and they plugged them in and then had a great thumping mat on their back, the entire back, for the whole day. They draped the cord over the shoulder so it didn't slip down, and they had the belt on. And so they treated their whole back during the daytime, and they had the battery in their pocket. Yeah, that's right. And and then we decided to do a study. We found, yes, it is work, and we gave a recommendation on the best brand of power pack to use. And it's not one of ours, funnily enough. But it was a very good power pack. It lasted forever, just about. So because Big Magic doesn't use much power, some power banks turn off because they think their device has been disconnected. This power bank had a very low threshold and it wasn't affected. So this is why we gave the recommendation. But having said that, if you can find a power pack that works and it just delivers 5 volts out a USB port, do it. Go for it. It's great. What is the material? Oh gosh, it's dreadful English. What is the mat made from? Can I use it directly on my skin? It's PVC. It's a low allergenic PVC. So it shouldn't produce allergies for most people. So it's not like a rubber. And so it can be used directly on the skin. But usually we put it under a sheet. It just makes it more comfortable, or even a blanket and a sheet. That's what I do. Because it's one thing having no allergic reaction from the PVC, but it's got its edges, Clive, and so it doesn't feel right, you know. This makes it a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm the sort of person where I can feel a pea under me, you know, when I sleep. I can feel these tiny little bumps, so I like to have a blanket and a sheet.
Could you find what if you had it on top? I suppose it would constantly be moving around. It probably wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea, I guess. I don't know what advantages it would have, and I can think of several disadvantages. It would move a lot.
I don't think that's a good idea.
You'll find that. Sorry. Oh, you'll find that the cat would have dragged it outside, and yeah.
I love it.
Pets love Pulsed Emf mats. They really do. They gravitate to them. It's almost like they've got the sense that it's healthy for them. We've got this a lot actually with our plasma as well. Animals love sitting in front of our plasma devices, but we're not talking about that. But they'll sit on the mat happily. They'll hunt it out and they'll sit on it and stay there and fall asleep. So what's good for them is good for us.
So it's interesting you say that. I'm sitting surrounded by the 2 scalar devices, and the cats love sitting right by my feet, right in the middle of the field. Yeah,
I guess they haven't lost the instinct that we would have had at one time. We've lost it years ago, as our ability to produce our own vitamin C and other things. So yes, they seem to seek out things that are good for them. They can sense when a storm's coming and other subtle changes that we're so blind to. I don't know whether whether our ancestors of 1,000 years ago were as insensitive as we are now. Maybe they were.
I doubt it, otherwise they'd be dead. I mean, without the modern conveniences that we've got, you'd have to be more sensitive to the weather and know it really intimately, I think, because otherwise you get caught out and not do well.
That's right. Or maybe it's us living in the modern society. Maybe if I'd been born in a place which had nothing modern at all, maybe I would have an innate ability. I become superhuman. I just have what would be termed intuition, which isn't. It's just sensations which I can't put to words. Yeah, good thinking. Okay, the size of the mat. What's your imperial? So it's almost 2 foot long, and it's 7 inches, just over a foot wide. Yeah, fully flexible. How many coils are in the mat? And do you feel them?
7 inches is like half a foot.
Yeah, just over half a foot. Yeah. Depends how big your foot is, really. So how many coils are in the mat? Well, no coil wire is in our mats. We've done it a very special way. We've got a single planar coil in our mat, and there's no copper coil inside there. And you can hardly feel it when you lie down on it. If you're one of these superheroes, these people that can hear very, very tiny sounds, they're the people that can hear you when you try and sneak into a house drunk, trying to creep away into the bedroom and go to sleep. Mothers and spouses, they've got super hearing. Well, they could probably hear ever so slight tick, 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 tick noise as the coil is doing its magic. But most mortals can't hear that sound. We do provide a tester that you can lay down onto the coil, and these lights flash very briefly, showing that everything's working.
Can you describe what a planar coil is?
I'm sorry. It's a coil that's got 2 dimensions. It's not a 3-dimensional coil, so there's no depth, virtually no depth. It's only flat. It's like a piece of paper. So a planar coil will be in the form of a piece of paper. And if it is like a piece of paper, then it's easy to make it into a mat by putting foam either side and then putting PVC over the top.
What material would achieve that?
A very special material. Very special material, Clive. I'm sure someone's pulled our mat apart, but we found a way that we could do it without copper wires. With copper wires, you get localization of the field. It's not an even distribution. So we made it this other way, and works very nicely, Clive. The effective working distance is about a foot. So you can have...
What about a baby?
A baby is probably longer than a foot, depending on the age of the baby.
Yeah, very good. Would it be safe to put a bit, if your baby wasn't well? Any ideas?
I've never really thought about that, Clive. Generally, our blanket warning is not for pregnant people. And there's probably a warning at the end of this presentation to say no babies or pregnant women. But I'll go out on a limb here and say that babies, it should be safe. Because when you think about it, Clive, it's Earth's natural frequencies. So it's nothing abnormal. It's not like a harmful 50 hertz mains frequency. It's a natural Earth frequency which your body's receiving. And it's not a super powerful signal either. So I would go out and say, well, it would be safe.
And how about eyesight? You've still got your glasses, I see, so hasn't solved the problem completely. Have you seen some interesting results there? On
eyesight, I don't know, Clive. Because I wear many hats, I do hardware development, software development, as well as wearing glasses. I push myself too hard to focus on some of my own areas where I should focus on, I guess. I live on almost zero sleep. I'm the person where I'll be awake at night thinking ideas. I'm batting for everybody, and I'm thinking of what can I do to improve the quality of life, not just get people to live longer, but also better. And it takes a lot of effort. So I'm developing software, making things better always in the software side, doing the biofeedback, as well as doing the hardware development with plasma, Pulsed Emf, the flash units, and other projects which we have on the go. So many things, Clive, that I just don't do the things I really should do.
Well,
Pardon?
Put yourself at the front now, because unless you're in tip-top health, I mean, it's the same with almost every healer-type person I know. You know, they look after everybody else, but they actually need somebody else to look after them.
They say that if you want to see a house with the worst plumbing, look at a plumber's house.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing.
But in my defense, gosh, I've been at this point in time thinking I'm on the fly, but I think of something really good, hadn't I? I've got my big magic, which is keeping me full of bubbles and energy. I should be, with the workload that I have and with the amount of negativity which I have, because make no mistake, with the things that we're doing as a company, we're achieving the impossible. We've got a huge force working against us. Most of it is with the regular medical establishment, but a little bit is also with the alternative medicine people, because we're undercutting them and destroying their markets that they've been so busy protecting. We've got so much negativity as well. That is a burden also on us. I shouldn't be able to do what I'm achieving, but I am, because of the treatments that I do. So I'm doing pretty good for, the pressures that we are under and the workload and all the rest of it. I'm going to be a daddy in about 16 days' time. So that's another role that I'll be doing. And for the last few months, I've been doing so much housework. Any woman that's watching, you'd be so proud of me. Household cleaning, cooking, scrubbing, everything. So I'm doing that plus my regular workload. I'm doing pretty good, Clive. I even have these SAMA interviews, as you know, and I have these experts come on and teach us things. It's marvelous what we learn. And we had an expert talk to us about eyesight and how to restore your eyesight so you don't need glasses naturally. And here's me, with my glasses on. And I know what advice he gave. I just haven't got the time to implement his suggestions, wonderful as they may be. And more so now with the extra things that I'm having to do. Now I'm going to be a daddy soon. Exciting times, Clive, super high pressure times. People know how hard it is, the months, the weeks before the birth, the extra workload. And of course, once our beautiful valley arrives, then we've got the nappies, the all the other things. It's just
I've done it 4 times. I know, but there are some things that I can tell you that are useful. I'll give you the password if I haven't given it to you already, to the Secret Health Club, because the first video in the babies section is how to hear the 5 sounds that every baby in the world makes when they're born. So your baby making a sound saying, "I'm hungry, I've got lower bowel pain, I've got wind." And this woman, Patricia Dunstan, she was a musical genius when very young, and she heard her son making these sounds and realized and made sense of it. So that's the first one. The second one is about the children seeing blindfolded, how to teach that. Then there's one about how to have an orgasmic birth, and over 40% of women, rather than having a painful birth, can have an orgasmic one. And so I'll send you an email with the password to get in. Definitely worth having a look. Also, there's people like Duncan McGill who did, you can buy CDs, which you play 2 weeks before the birth, which is all about, rather than contractions, it's all about you'll be having expansions and things will be easy and things will widen and so on. So positive hypnosis. And then during the birth, you can play the other version, which is 60 times as fast, but subliminally. And a pain-free birth. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, orgasmic sounds the ultimate, doesn't it? I've never heard of that. Gosh. Well, that sounds amazing. Yes, thank you, Clive, for that. I'd love to see those videos. We've come on a tangent, haven't we? It's lucky I've got this PowerPoint to sort of put me back on track again. I love these distractions because quite often they're more valuable than the content of the formal content, one might say. Okay, and the frequency program of Big Magic, well, we've covered this before. It's the natural earth frequency. And the waveform of Big Magic is perfectly square, very, very sharp square. Each pulse lasts for only 100 millionths of a second. Because the pulse is so sharp and so brief, it easily penetrates the cells, and it induces or generates a small current within the cell that gives the cell the energy that the cell needs to do its normal processes. Is there a warranty? Of course not. No, there is. Sorry. That's my New Zealand humour coming through. Got to apologise for that. I find myself apologising quite often, actually, for that. It comes with a full 12 months warranty, so if anything goes wrong with it, just send it back and we'll send a replacement. What side of the mat should face the skin? Well, because the signal changes every 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. But there's one side of the mat that's got a tiny bump, and I'll show you that in a little while. And so it's just more comfortable to have the bump facing down rather than up. And what conditions can Big Magic treat? Gosh, well, it's more chronic conditions, conditions that have been with you for a long time, conditions that have become part of you, but still the conditions you want to shrug off. So things like nerve damage, joint problems, and other things which you've carried for a long time. And just place the mat under your sheet, and you just notice that slowly over a period of time, these problems will eventually either become greatly reduced or eliminated. And how long does it take for a treatment session? Gosh, it sounded like a doctor's session, isn't it? Well, it's gentle, and it's really designed for overnight use. And because it's using such low amounts of power, you can really and truly forget about it. Let it collect dust underneath the bed and just leave it on because the power consumption is so low. And can you use it at the same time as MiraMate? No problems whatsoever. The fields don't interfere or cancel each other out. You can lie down on Big Magic whilst using MiraMate on the specific body part where you've got pain. Okay, here we're talking about using Big Magic and Spooky 2 Scalar, which is what Clive was talking about just a little bit earlier. Can you use both simultaneously? Well, you can use both simultaneously, but please try and keep those two magical scalar boxes at least 3 feet away from Big Magic itself and the mat. And the tuning point of the scalar may change. And so let's check and readjust it once you've got everything set in position. And I've got a link there, which you have to memorize because it's not in text form, but maybe we can give it to you. It's not important. If you just go to miramate.com, then you can, it's the launching pad for pretty much everywhere, including the Facebook groups. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, that's that, Clive. Yeah, that's the presentation that we had set up. And look, I did you didn't see, did you? I did the last part without my glasses, so I'm not actually blind. But if I wear the glasses, people can't see the sleepless rings under my eyes, and I get them a lot because
Well, you know, The advice always with spectacles is that if you can not wear them, that's what to do. You never want to wear them unless you absolutely need them. Otherwise, your eyes will accommodate. And
You've got no idea. You got no idea how much you sound like. You sound just like my father, you do. And you got to go on, aren't you? Until I throw them away. Okay, Dad.
I met somebody last year who took their prescription from -425 to 0.
Wow, that's really such a big deal.
Took them about a year, and they did what they call print pushing and so on. Where, I mean, the thing is that my dad was an optometrist, and he would never give the prescription that somebody needed. He'd always give a lower prescription to make sure their eyes were trying hard.
So he's one of the good guys.
What you can do is you can keep going down 1/4 of a diopter or even half a diopter,
right?
So that you do the eye exercises like close up, distance, really focus on that tree a long way away. Get the muscles strong. Just keep snapping focus back to various exercises you can do.
Yeah.
But by always pushing, making those muscles work, always having glasses at 2 week until you go down to something like -2 or something, when you could start going the other way and getting some cheap reading specs for nothing, and pushing everything. So you try and read at, let's say you're reading on the computer screen, you have the print set fairly small, so they're just on the edge of being able to see it. Again, you don't want to go to eye strain, but just on, and we forget their eyes are muscles.
Yeah, they need exercise, don't they? Well, my glasses, they're one time, so they're the minimum. And it's funny you should mention cheap supermarket ones, because well, I'm a bit of a, I think my pay rate's not that high.
They're fine if you just want magnification. A $1, $2 pair of reading specs is just fine. It's only if you've got some astigmatism or something, you might want to do something special.
Right.
Oh, and vitamin C.
I promised I'd show you the Big Magic, and I've got the box here waiting for me to open up. I can never get things back together again, so I'm not even going to try after this. But okay, I've got the manual, the power lead, and the power adapter. As I said before, it's just got the USB port, so you can drive this off your computer if you want to, or a power bank, a cell phone power bank is okay. And this is it. This is our beautiful unit. It's got the same color choice options. So it comes in white, and but you must admit though, it looks pretty good. It's got a beautiful rounded edge. It's very complicated to use. In fact, we didn't give instructions how to use in the video, did we? No, we didn't. So we plug it in, turn it on here, and select the power level, and then you're away. So two switches, only one if you just always leave the power level to the maximum, and a power switch. So it's very, very simple. In fact, we found that no one used the very low power, and so the unit only, the one that we sell now, only has 2 power levels. There's no.
Right.
That's the reason why. Now, it has a little slow pulse of light that comes from the top. I wonder if I can find a USB port. I don't want to unplug it. Well, it gives a gentle, a turquoise color pulse. Now, some people have this on their bedside cabinet, and the pulse was a little bit annoying for them. There's a little button here that you just push once, and the light stops. So
good.
So yeah, we got it covered. We've got everything covered here, Clive. We're very, very clever people, I tell you. It's ideas like that to keep me awake at night. So that's our device there. So it's one of these devices which it's really handy if you need it. If you don't need it, you should get it for when you do need it, because when you do need it, it's going to take a few days to arrive, and your condition is just going to be worse. But even, even if you have your normal day duties and you think you're doing okay, once you sleep a few nights on Big Magic, you just feel just that little bit extra. You feel just a little bit younger, that person who gave a bit of feedback in the presentation said about the energy levels. If you've got chronic fatigue, they said maybe it would help with that, because it just raises your overall energy level. And it is honestly so cheap. It's kind of a no-brainer. People really should. If you put any value to your health and well-being, which I like to think people do, then you should get one.
And what is the approximate cost?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go to the website. I really should have done my homework beforehand, and I'll find out. Okay. I'm going to MiraMate.com. This is the site that sells our flash unit, a beautiful flash, and our 2 Pulsed Emf devices. So if we go, okay.
So everybody watching this should also watch the, I think, very important video about the flash device.
Flash is one of the products which it just got from fantastic to amazing. It really and truly exceeded our expectations. Okay, I've got a number for you. Are you sitting down? The Big Magic with the power supply, it's large, matte, everything you need to just plug and go. That's $480. $480. Now you're euros, aren't you? So I'm not sure what the conversion will be.
We're pounds here, but
okay.
So it would be about £350 in England.
Okay.
But there's import tax and all that, so it's probably different, and VAT.
Right. So
probably more like £500 or something, perhaps. But that's a bargain compared to $5,000 for the others.
Well, you can't. It's kind of sad where you can't buy a Pulsed Emf mat for under $2,000. It's like crazy, and $2,000 is a lot of money. You can't make it sound. You can't candy cover that number. It's $2,000. They'll make it $1,999.99. It's still $2,000. It's a lot of money, and if you think, well, I'm not that sick that I don't, that $2,000, yes, that could be like a month's worth of savings. I don't want to do that. But if it's $480, then suddenly it does become affordable. More people can afford it. More people can get energy and have better quality of life. Spooky started small and then it's sort of grown because of our ideas. But some of the things that we've come up with have been accidental. Some ideas that we've put into the software or the hardware, some devices has got ideas in it which just came through inspiration. I like to think that it's because we're getting karma credits from helping so many people that these messages are flowing to us. If someone is willing to extend a helping hand to other people that need, you will find that those people just have better luck. That's a simple explanation of it. We have really good luck, and we just happen to fall on good ideas, and then they work out really good. It's not really luck. It's just goodness flowing, okay? And this is another example of a product that came from ideas. We found a way of making a mat that's perfectly flat, that's comfortable, you can sleep on it. That came through a very early morning, sleepless night idea. And the feeling of euphoria when I'm lying there, I'm chewing over, I'm mulling these problems over, I'm thinking, what can I do? There's no solution. And then something comes to me. Yeah, that makes it all worthwhile. And I know that products that we develop, thousands of people will benefit from, not just a few that can afford it, the lucky ones, the unlucky ones, the people that really need it, they can afford it as well. And that really drives us. This is something we really feel strongly about, Clive. We've about, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago, we turned vegetarian because we came to realize that we were taking lives through eating, even if it's indirectly. We don't see the animal, we don't know the animal's name, we got no idea. You just go to the supermarket, buy some meat, we cook it, tastes nice, and that's it. But we cost a life, and there's no living being that would willingly give its life. It would struggle. At the very end, it will feel pain. But we're separated from all that. It's been sanitized. Now, I'm not sort of promoting vegetarianism or anything like that, but I'm just trying to explain the mindset that us as a company have. We think of everything. We think about pollution. We're trying to reduce packaging, waste, recycling, packing, or doing as much as we can to reduce our cost to our planet. The planet is one living being, and we are souls within that. So we have to be careful. We have to make sure that we leave something for our ancestors, predecessors, and predecessors. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Our children, our children's children. We need to leave something good for them. We need to raise the level of humanity. You can do that by being as generous as possible. I guarantee this, if you gave a large lump of your savings, just give it away. You'll get things back in bucket loads. If you do it blindly, if you do it without telling people how generous you've been, you just do it and you walk away, the credits will be multiplied 20-fold. This has been, I could tell you so many stories, but I guess with every story I tell you, my credits will be diminished again, wouldn't they? Because I do it 20 times magnification.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
And then, I've got to be careful. But I'm just saying to people, try not to be too tight-fisted. Be generous, not just monetary-wise, but time-wise as well, because sometimes the best thing you can give is time and effort. Help people around you. In the Sammers, Clive, I quite often say, pass the love forwards. That's my way of saying, just give it blindly. People you don't know, it will come back to you, but don't do it for that reason. Just keep on passing it forwards. And we can make a change in society, slowly but surely. Now, I don't know how on earth we managed to get around to talking with that, Clive, but I thought I'd squeeze it in before you squeeze in your shameless plug.
Well, yeah, that's excellent. And I've got a client in 3 minutes, so...
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much.
Perfect timing. Thank you very much, and I look forward to next time.
I always enjoy our talks. You take care.
Thanks, John. Take care.
Bye-bye, everybody.